This story left the whole USA in shock. It will bring you to tears. Today, we delve into a chilling case from Malibu Creek State Park. Located just 25 miles from downtown Los Angeles, this picturesque recreation area is not just known for being a backdrop to famous films and TV shows, but also a site of a dreadful tragedy. In the summer of 2018, a tranquil camping trip turned into a nightmare when a young man was tragically murdered while spending the afternoon with his two daughters. The incident plunged the Southern California community into a state of panic. As investigators pieced together clues, they uncovered a connection to a series of unresolved occurrences within the same vicinity, igniting widespread conspiracy theories and public fear. Our narrative today explores the eerie aftermath of a sudden disaster, striking when least expected. The story begins one fateful morning when police officers approached the residence of a young woman named Erica Wu. Upon hearing the question, "Are you Tristan Baudette's wife?" her heart sank, anticipating the devastating news to follow. The officers confirmed her worst fears. Her husband Tristan had been fatally shot overnight while in his tent. Frantic, Erica hurried to the crime scene, driven by the urgent need to reunite with her daughters who were still at the campsite. Throughout the long drive, tears streamed down her face as she grappled with the shocking loss. Erica, the fourth of 5 siblings in a Chinese immigrant family, had lost her father early on and witnessed her mother's struggles to raise the family alone. She had always been the quiet, responsible one, maintaining control amidst chaos. Tristan, on the other hand, was her polar opposite. Raised in Fresno by his divorced parents, a local insurance salesman and a school teacher, Tristan learned early on to live freely without overthinking, a stark contrast to Erica's cautious nature. Their paths first crossed in high school, where they started as mere acquaintances. Over time, their bond deepened through shared studies, moments of joy, and personal tribulations, despite their contrasting personalities. As their friendship blossomed, Erica and Tristan transitioned from friends to partners. Despite attending different universities, Erica at Stanford and Tristan at the University of California, San Diego, they maintained their connection through daily emails and nightly phone calls. The distance was challenging, but their commitment never wavered. During their second year of medical school, the couple got engaged, and by the following year, they decided to make San Francisco their home. In 2008, their wedding in Tilden Park was a picturesque affair, set against the backdrop of glass walls and a stone clearing, surrounded by loved ones. Afterward, Tristan and Erica moved to Long Beach and later to Irvine. Erica began her career at UCLA, while Tristan secured a position at a prominent pharmaceutical company. Adapting to life in Orange County took time, but it soon became a place they cherished. They welcomed their first daughter in 2014, followed by a second in 2016. Tristan embraced fatherhood wholeheartedly, becoming the early riser who prepared breakfast and let Erica catch up on rest. His love for the outdoors never faded, often taking the family hiking and camping in nearby woods and mountains. After completing her internship, Erica landed a job back in the San Francisco Bay Area, prompting the family to plan their move north. They found a home in a well-equipped suburb south of San Francisco, offering excellent schools for their daughters. Tristan also found employment at a new pharmaceutical firm nearby. Their move was scheduled for the end of June, right after Erica's qualifying exam. Tristan's son-in-law, Scott, offered to take the girls the night before the exam to ensure Erica could study in tranquility. On June 21st, 2018, Tristan shared breakfast with Erica and their daughters before heading out. At the garage door, he embraced Erica, wishing her luck on her exam and promising a celebration upon her return. Then, Tristan, Scott, and the girls set off for Malibu Creek State Park. They arrived at the park in the late afternoon and were initially directed to a campsite at the entrance. However, Tristan surveyed the area and chose a better location that seemed ideal. They set up their tents there, taking turns watching the girls and organizing their camp. The day had been full of excitement, from the drive to the park to setting up camp and cooking over the fire, all of which tired out the girls. By nightfall, Tristan tucked them into bed. The men lingered by the campfire a bit longer before retreating to their own tents for the night. It was a dark, quiet night. Clouds blanketed the sky, and the moon was hidden, shedding no light on the ground. In the early hours of June 22nd, Scott was jolted awake by a series of loud pops, which he initially thought were fireworks. However, the sound of a baby crying from Tristan's tent alarmed him, and he went to investigate. Approaching the tent, Scott called out to Tristan several times without response. The crying intensified. Inside the tent, he found Tristan lying unresponsive and pale, with no pulse. A dark pool of blood was near his head. Scott attempted first aid, but it was clear Tristan had passed away. He immediately contacted the park rangers to report the tragic incident. At around 4:40 a.m., police were notified of the shooting at Malibu Creek State Park. Thankfully, Tristan and Erica's daughters were unharmed. Tragically, one fatal bullet had struck Tristan in the head, ending his life instantly. A second bullet had hit his torso. Bullet holes were evident in the tent, suggesting that someone had randomly fired into it at dawn. Remarkably, the girls inside were unharmed, indicating the shooter might not have cared about the victims. Law enforcement officers were quick to respond, arriving at the scene to interview park visitors and employees who might have seen anything suspicious. Unfortunately, no one reported seeing anyone with a gun, adding to the mystery. Amidst the investigation, most witnesses remained silent, but one woman camping near Tristan and Scott's tent did come forward. She reported hearing 5 consecutive shots around 4:45 a.m. and was initially too frightened to act, fearing the shooter was close by. After 20 minutes, she bravely left her tent and called emergency services. This was the second call for help, following a ranger's earlier alert, with rescuers already en route to Malibu Creek. Upon examining the scene, investigators determined the bullets were likely from a hunting rifle, capable of traveling a significant distance, suggesting the shooter could have been far from the campsite. A thorough search of the surrounding area was conducted by detectives, police, and forensic teams, assisted by service dogs, but they found nothing that could lead to a suspect or solve the mystery. No arrests were made, and the detectives were left with more questions than answers. They pondered who would want to harm Tristan, a research scientist working for a pharmaceutical company. Could the motive be linked to his professional work or his personal life? The investigation continued without a clear direction on who the shooter could be or why this tragic incident occurred. Before his tragic death, Tristan Baudette had raised concerns about vaccine safety, working on developing safer vaccines. His work sparked debates within the pharmaceutical industry, leading some to speculate whether his murder was connected to his research. However, this theory of premeditated murder remains unproven. Extensive interviews and fact-checking made one thing clear. Tristan's murder was no random act. This attack was the 6th in a series, with 2 previous incidents targeting the very same campsite used by Tristan and Scott. This pattern raised alarms about a possible sniper targeting the area. As a result, Malibu Creek Park was closed to the public, triggering widespread outrage over the perceived negligence of the authorities who had previously downplayed the seriousness of earlier non-fatal attacks. The public was shocked to learn that such a well-liked destination had been periodically targeted by an unknown assailant. Despite earlier incidents involving injuries, no investigations were conducted, nor were tourists warned, leading to accusations of incompetence against the police who had dismissed these incidents as hunting accidents. Following Tristan's murder, the park remained closed, and the local community was stunned by the continued oversight of safety measures. City officials eventually responded by emphasizing the paramount importance of visitor safety and formally shutting down the park. Nevertheless, the surrounding neighborhood remained tense, with police receiving multiple reports of gunfire even after the closure. The search for the shooter persisted amidst scant evidence and no sightings of suspicious individuals entering the campground. It appeared the shooter might have been hiding within the park itself. In the wake of these events, Tristan Baudette's family expressed their condolences to other victims and opted to stay out of the media spotlight. In a final effort to gather leads, authorities offered a $30,000 reward for information related to the shootings. Despite the substantial reward offered, the motive and identity of the perpetrator remained elusive for months. This forced investigators to delve deeper into a series of mysterious gunshots linked to several violent incidents in recent years, including the tragic death of young father, Tristan Baudette. The trail of incidents dates back to November 2016, beginning with biologist James Rogers. While camping in Malibu Creek Park, Rogers was startled awake by intense pain in his arm, initially suspecting a rodent or bat bite. After receiving a rabies shot, he discovered metal fragments in his wound, suggesting he had been shot. Another disturbing event occurred in January 2017. Melissa Tatangelo and her partner were sleeping in their car in the park when they were awakened by a loud gunshot and the smell of burnt metal. By morning, they found a shotgun blast hole in their car's rear. These events sparked local rumors of a dangerous armed individual lurking in the area, yet these episodes initially failed to attract significant police attention. In the summer of 2018, the community began recounting other frightening occurrences. In 2009, 24-year-old Mitris Richardson disappeared in the remote hills of California, with her remains discovered nearly a year later near a railroad station. In 2017, 20-year-old Elaine Park vanished after last being seen in Calabasas, with her car and personal items later found abandoned along the Pacific coast in Malibu. Her body was never recovered. Just a month before the latest crime at Malibu Creek Park, another gruesome discovery was made, a mutilated body showing signs of violence. The latest victim was found in a tent across from Malibu Creek Park, prompting investigators to label the area as a dumping ground for bodies. Initially, these crimes seemed unrelated, but as the investigation deepened, new information surfaced. A Tesla driver, who chose to remain anonymous, reported that 4 days before Tristan Baudette's death, around 4:30 a.m., shots were fired at his vehicle. Despite these reports, Los Angeles detectives have yet to establish a connection between these incidents. The local community, gripped by fear, speculated about the shooter's motives and cautioned each other to keep doors and windows securely closed. Many locals were in disbelief that a serial offender could be operating in such an upscale area, frequented by celebrities. Some theorized that Tristan's death might have been a tragic accident, perhaps a misdirected shot from someone illegally practicing target shooting, suggesting he was merely in the wrong place at the wrong time. Questions arose about whether Tristan's death was linked to other disturbing cases, like the disappearances and brutal killings in the area, but police had no concrete leads to reassure the increasingly anxious residents. In August, authorities conceded at a town meeting that the investigation had stalled. As theories abounded, some suggested that Tristan might have been targeted over a secretive and valuable project, or possibly due to connections with drug cartels, a claim fueled by rumors of illegal activities in secluded parts of the park. The community could only wait, hoping that if a criminal was indeed at large, they would eventually slip up. Meanwhile, the area near Malibu Creek Park experienced other crimes, including thefts of food and break-ins at abandoned properties. The elusive perpetrator, captured several times on hidden cameras, managed to evade capture despite being followed. A composite sketch of the suspected burglar was circulated, but as minor crimes persisted, gunshots continued to echo through the hills. Around the same time, a park employee driving through Malibu Creek encountered a man on the side of the road requesting a ride. Noting the man resembled a sketch of a suspected thief, the employee declined and reported the sighting to the police. Despite a thorough search by patrolmen in 3 helicopters, the man was not found. Subsequently, another incident occurred at the community center, where a perpetrator broke a window and vandalized a vending machine for food. Responding swiftly, police tracked fresh shoe prints leading to the arrest of 42-year-old Anthony Rauda, dressed entirely in black and carrying a rifle in his backpack. Unofficial sources suggested Rauda was homeless and had resorted to stealing food for survival. A relative mentioned that Rauda had been arrested previously for illegal border crossing and had lived in the area for over a decade, feeling paranoid about those around him. On October 10, 2018, 4 months after Tristan Baudette's murder, Anthony Rauda was apprehended in a nearby canyon with a rifle, described by sheriff's authorities as a survivalist outdoorsman. Initially arrested for thefts, he was later charged with Tristan's murder and linked to other shootings. Rauda had a criminal history, including time served for possessing explosives and a loaded handgun, which is illegal for felons. At the time of his latest arrest, he was on probation. In early January 2023, state authorities indicted Rauda for numerous offenses in the Malibu Creek area, including 10 attempted murders, 5 burglaries, and the murder of Tristan Baudette. This led to speculation that the police were eager to resolve all related cases by attributing them to Rauda. Authorities suspect that the man charged, Anthony Rauda, was also involved in crimes that happened nearly a decade ago. One detective described the saga as having enough drama for a Hollywood movie. Indeed, the story unfolded like a blockbuster script, suggesting that the real perpetrator might still be out there. Anthony Rauda faced charges of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder, and 5 counts of second-degree burglary. These charges were based on matching the bullets from the scene of Tristan Baudette's murder with those from other shooting locations. Rauda's trial was delayed until he could secure legal representation. There were doubts about his ability to stand trial, and he remained in custody, continually asserting his innocence. In November 2018, he was removed from the courtroom for shouting, using profanity, and banging on the cell walls, leading to his demand for a new court-appointed lawyer. Locals hoped that Tristan's killer had been caught, but nighttime gunshots in Malibu Creek persisted. At trial, the jury convicted Rauda of 1 count of attempted murder and shooting at a vehicle related to an incident 4 days before Tristan's death. However, they acquitted him of first-degree murder but found him guilty of second-degree murder, resulting in a sentence of 119 years by a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge. Despite the verdict, questions lingered. Was Rauda truly the disturbed individual behind the sporadic shootings in the mountains over the years? Evidence suggested it might be true, but the community still heard gunshots at night, even after his arrest. A local Malibu journalist, skeptical from the beginning, continues to question the official narrative. "Personally, I think the real shooter is still out there," she states, suggesting that the focus on a burglary suspect might have been convenient politically following Tristan's death. Erica Wu, Tristan's widow, shares this skepticism. "Everything that happened seems like a 1,000,000% coincidence. Tristan was just in the wrong place at the wrong time," she says, struggling with the randomness of the tragedy. In late December 2018, Erica Wu took legal action against the Los Angeles and California authorities. She sued them for failing to alert the public about the dangers in Malibu Creek Park despite previous violent incidents, demanding $90 million in compensation. The police confirmed the lawsuit, but remained silent on the matter. The underlying motive behind the crime was never clarified. Serial offenders typically follow certain patterns, like keeping trophies or leaving unique marks, but Anthony was deemed too chaotic and unpredictable. It seemed almost a fluke that he was caught. This led to a theory that he was an erratic social outcast, blindly retaliating against society without any clear target or reason. The uncertainty surrounding whether his victims survived or not adds to the mystery. It's likely that the story of the Malibu Creek shooter isn't over and might continue until the true perpetrator is caught and no more innocent lives are lost. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more shocking stories.